This is Visitor's Book, and I'm Maija, your host. In this program, we're going to be meeting with diplomats and foreigners who are here in Pakistan, and we're going to find out what they really think about the country. So let's go. So our guest today is Marion Lombard, Project Development Officer at Paws International. So let's go meet with her. Hi Marion, so nice to meet you.
Hi, nice meeting you too.
Thanks for coming here today. So, when did you arrive in Pakistan now?
I arrived a week ago.
Okay, so it's been just a week, and this is the first time you're here.
Exactly, that's the first time here in Pakistan.
Okay, wow. Yes. How do you like it so far?
So far, I really like it. I was very surprised, actually. I was expecting something else. I really like it. People are very friendly, welcoming, very generous. I love it. Yes.
And what is the reason you're here?
We are here for business reason. We have been invited by the wildlife authorities to support for the relocating of the remaining captive animals from the Islamabad zoo.
Okay, and they're going to be relocated all over Pakistan?
In Pakistan, yes.
Okay, are you expecting to travel a little bit, or you're going to be spending most of your time here in Islamabad?
Most of our time will be spent in Islamabad, but of course we will assess some places, so we will travel a little bit.
Do you have any idea where you'll be going?
Not exactly so far.
Okay. How long are you going to stay now?
It is planned to stay around 3 to 4 weeks, but we are very flexible again. It depends a lot on our work, how it develops. It can last longer.
Okay, excellent. That's so exciting. So, you mentioned that you had really wanted to come to Pakistan, although, like, in the West, Pakistan doesn't always have such a positive image. Why did you find Pakistan an interesting country to visit?
Exactly because it has a bad image.
Oh,
actually.
Really? Okay.
Yes, people are mainly talking about the safety issues in Pakistan, and I lived in several countries, especially in the Middle East, where you have a lot of conflicts, and I like going in such places because most of the times those people are more authentic, let's say, and very generous, very friendly, and I want to also break this image that is given a lot of within our world, let's say. So I really wanted to have my own image and to see by myself what it was exactly.
Okay, so what was the first impression that you had when you landed in Islamabad a week ago?
It was a very green city. That was really my first impression. I was very surprised how green it was.
That's not something you expected?
No.
What did you think Islamabad would be like?
You expect somehow more like a very dry city, more desertic.
Yeah.
And I was really not expecting so many flowers and high trees and things like that.
Yeah?
Yes.
So you're here with Dr. Amir, right?
Yes, exactly.
He's been here a couple of times before. What did he tell you about Pakistan?
He told me great things about Pakistan. Actually, it was mainly about the food.
Oh,
because he loves when it's spicy and he really loves Pakistani food. So
what about you?
I love it so far as well. Yeah. For me, it's sometimes a bit too spicy because I'm not used to it, but I really love it. Yes.
All right. So what do you think so far has been, aside from what you said about Islamabad being a really green city, what has been the biggest surprise in Pakistan for you so far?
The biggest surprise? I think it was the hiking trails around Islamabad. I knew that Pakistan was also famous for having some hiking trails, but I was not expecting to have really the hiking trails within Islamabad itself.
Okay.
So...
How many times have you been there now?
Just once.
Okay. So how much of Islamabad have you managed to see in this 1 week? Where have you been?
I didn't see so much, actually. I would have to see a bit more, but we've just seen, we've been hiking. We've done the trail number 5, so we've seen the streams, and it was a lot of water, so it was very nice.
Yeah.
We really enjoyed it. We've been there early morning, so then it was not a lot of people. And we've seen as well a little bit, let's say, downtown. It's more the blue area, and some nice restaurants, Afghan restaurants as well, Pakistani restaurants. It was nice. They showed us some places also with very great teas. Yeah. And that's it so far. But I hope that when we will have a bit more time, we will be able to see a bit more of Islamabad and maybe, if possible, of Pakistan.
Yeah. Have you managed to interact with a lot of Pakistani people? Have you been meeting with local activists here who are also working on this zoo issue?
Yes, actually a lot. They are all very helpful, very supportive. They all really want to assist us in our job. And from the very first day, they were coming to the zoo. They wanted to meet us. They also invited us. It was very hard to be able to pay for our lunch or dinner.
Yeah.
They were all very friendly, very generous. So yes, we met a lot of them. Till now,
nice.
actually, we're working with them anyway.
Yeah. How would you describe Pakistani people so far, based on your experience here?
I would say that they are very friendly, very generous, and very welcoming. It's maybe, I've traveled in several countries, and so far it's maybe one of the most generous people I've ever met.
Really?
Actually, yes.
Oh, that's amazing. So that reminds me, I wanted to talk a little bit about your background. I mean, you already mentioned you've been to a lot of conflict countries. You're originally from France, right?
Yes, exactly, from France, from Burgundy.
Okay.
Yes.
So you started out working in a slightly different field. What is your career background? How did you end up in this field?
Actually I started to work for human rights. So I've done my thesis about the human rights issues in the Middle East. I was mainly focused on the Middle East and especially on the refugees issues.
Okay.
It was really something I loved, I enjoyed. The topic was for me very interesting. And since I'm a kid, I really love the Middle East, so I found it very interesting for me.
What sparked that interest in that area?
I actually don't know. It was, I always loved their history, their legends, and it's Arabian Nights maybe when I read it when I was a kid. I really loved it. And so it stayed. And I really wanted to go there to work on this part of the world. And that's why I ended up working on that.
Okay.
And so I decided to, so that was actually my career. And then I had a totally different turn.
Yeah.
I moved back to France after living a little bit in the Middle East for some years. And then I moved to Switzerland. And I was not thinking really about changing my career. I was not thinking about working for the animal welfare world. It was totally by chance. I started to apply for an internship at Paws actually in Zurich.
Really?
Yes, that's it. And I really loved it.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to be more on the field because I'm a field person.
Yeah.
I cannot just stay behind a computer.
Exactly.
For sure. So I met Dr. Amir Khalil and we discussed about my experience, he discussed about his job and about what does he need exactly.
Yeah.
And so that's why I ended up then working with him.
Okay, that's so interesting. So which countries did you actually work in before you joined for Paws?
I lived in Iraq.
During the conflict years?
Yes, it was in 2010 and 11. So I lived in Iraq at this period. Then after Iraq, I moved to Jordan, which is not a conflict zone. It's
but it's in the region.
Exactly, it's in the region. So actually, for my work, I anyway moved. I've been to Syria as well. I've been to Gaza as well. And so it was always very interesting. But for sure, Jordan was a safe spot.
Yeah.
And yes, and then I lived, and as I said, in Zurich in Switzerland.
Yeah. Okay.
And then I moved to Vienna, in Austria.
Wow. How was your experience in Iraq if you compare like a conflict country to Pakistan, although people don't really know that there is a bit of a difference in how like a in-conflict country is?
Well, actually it's not so different because I lived in the north in Erbil. It's in the Kurdish part.
Okay.
So this city is also quite open. It's totally different. You have the safety that is really fully ensured. It's no problem regarding this. You have the checkpoints around the city. So you feel quite safe, even if of course you have to follow the safety protocols.
Yeah.
That's it for sure. But it's not so different regarding this in Islamabad.
Okay, that's very interesting. Do you know, a lot of people might wonder, I mean, for somebody coming from France, from a very like a peaceful, modern country, what inspired you to move to such challenging countries?
Actually, I think it's nice that everyone, at least once in their life, if they can just go out from their comfort zone.
Yeah.
So it's very nice to have this open mind, and so you see how lucky you are then.
Exactly.
Because you are lucky to be just French, to have the French nationality, or even to be just European. You can travel. You don't have any restriction. If you are from Iraq or from Palestine or whatever, you will have restriction just because you are born in those countries.
Exactly.
So I think it's very nice as Europeans to realize this and to stop complaining about minor things in life, and so you can realize how lucky you are. So that's why I keep going in those countries, and you hope to have then an impact to meet those people and to change things for them.
That's really nice. Do you find it that you enjoy traveling to countries more when you have like something to do there, some kind of a task, rather than just like randomly traveling for,
Cheating.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Actually, both are good. Both are really good. You need both in your life. You need the balance.
True.
So, yes, sometimes when you travel a lot for work, and all the missions are very intense.
Yeah.
Very, very intense. So it's just good afterwards to have like a 1 week or 2 weeks break and to just chill, relax, and enjoy it. Both are good.
How much of your time do you actually spend on the road rather than in Vienna, where you're based now?
Before Corona time, let's say it was maybe every month we were gone.
Every month you have
Every month,
travel.
every 2 months. It really depends.
Yeah.
Now with COVID, of course, we had some issues like everyone.
Yeah.
So some project had to be a bit on standby. But I would say every month or every 2 months. Quite a lot, actually.
Yeah. So, what inspired you to change from human rights to animal rights? I mean, was it something about Dr. Amia's personality, or were you just somehow always interested in animals, and were you like an animal lover growing up also?
Sorry for Dr. Amia, but I was always an animal lover.
Oh, really?
Yes, always, since I'm a kid. And actually, when I've told my family that I found this internship at Paws in Switzerland, they were not surprised. They were like, okay, you have always been an animal lover, so that's something that could fit you. And same thing when then I started to talk to them about Dr. Amir Khalil. They were also not surprised, because it was a combination between animal welfare and also armed conflict. So they knew that for me it was the perfect combination. Being on the field in conflict zones and having an impact for the animals and for humans as well, because it's all linked.
Did you always have pets?
Yes.
Are you a cat or... Yeah?
Yeah, personally now I don't have any pets anymore because I'm traveling a lot, so that would be a bit too selfish. But yeah.
Are you a cat or a dog person?
I'm more a cat person, actually.
Yeah?
I love both, of course, but I have the character of a cat.
Oh, really?
So yes, exactly, totally. It's everybody around me would say you're really like a cat. Or
Is that why you have the tattoo here also?
Yes, exactly. That's a lion, and some friends were actually making fun of me sometimes because I have a lot of hair, and so they were comparing me with a lion because I have the temper of a cat.
Okay.
So that's also why.
That's so nice. So, I've also lived in like conflict countries, like in Afghanistan and stuff like that. And, I've seen this like a phenomenon among foreigners there, that they tend to adopt like stray cats or dogs often, and then sometimes they take them with them when they leave the country. Have you ever been like tempted to do that?
Yes, it was not in a conflict zone, but it was in Jordan actually.
Yeah.
I lived there for almost a year. So there was this cat in the area, and he was actually always walking only on the back legs. So he was standing like that and walking only on the back legs.
Oh, yeah.
And I took care of this cat for at least 2 months. And then he finally started to come to me and to be more like tamed.
Yeah.
So I took care of this cat. I unfortunately was not able to take him with me to Europe, but I know he's still with a friend of mine right now in Jordan.
Aww, so nice.
He has now a happy life.
Yeah.
He's still walking only on the back legs, but yes, he's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm like collecting cats here in Pakistan. I have 2 cats now, and maybe soon I'll have 3.
Maybe. I've seen as well in Pakistan, you have a lot of stray cats and stray dogs, and some of them are really cute. You just want to take them and to bring them with you.
How difficult is it not to like adopt animals everywhere you go?
It's awful. It's terrible every time. Especially, I work a lot with one of my colleagues who is really involved in the stray dogs program where that's from in Bulgaria. And every time we are looking at dogs and cats in the street and they are so cute, we just want to do something and to take them, to give them another life. It's very hard, yes.
But of course you can't rescue all the animals in the world.
You can have an impact by making some programs for controlling the stray dogs or cat population. But of course it's hard. We see things sometimes that we would prefer not to see, but it's part of the reality as well. It's very hard, it's part of our job. That we need to see that to understand, to then having even more strength to do something.
Yeah. All right, time to take a short break. I'll see you in a bit. Welcome back. I'm here in conversation with Marion Lombard from Paws International. So, Marion, could you tell me what kind of work does Paws do? I mean, it's not just always rescue missions to conflict countries, right?
Yes, exactly. So for Paws, first of all, it's a global animal welfare organization. We are an international organization, and the headquarters is based in Vienna, in Austria. And so we are working with animals that are under human influence. So which means in zoos, in private keeping, but also farm animals, stray dogs, stray cats, these kind of things. So in such cases, we are here to help, to support, and to have an impact. And our goal is, of course, to have a proper animal welfare worldwide, to make an impact. So we want to reveal, to rescue, and to protect the animals. We want to offer a sustainable solution for them. So we are not indeed only making rescue missions in war zones. This is mainly our part in our department. But we have more than 550 employees at Paws.
Oh wow.
So we have different units for farm animals, for stray dogs, for companion animals. We also have sanctuaries for wildlife. We have, for instance, in Europe, we have Berenval, it's a bear sanctuary. In Müritz, in Germany. We also have Arbesbar in Austria. We have as well a bear sanctuary in Vietnam. We have a big cat sanctuary in Lions Rock. We have an amazing sanctuary in Al Marwa in Jordan, which is a partnership with Princess Alia Foundation.
Yeah.
So we are really active worldwide, and we want to offer a sustainable solution for those animals we are rescuing. So that's why we are developing also sanctuaries or projects to then make a change within the government. So about the legislation, for instance, and we're also working with some European institutions for that. And so then we have really tough lobbying work to do.
Okay.
So that's our job. We also are very active lately with the dog and cat meat trade in Southeast Asia. That's one of our biggest campaign for this year, and we have very good colleagues there that are working hard on that.
Oh wow. How was this organization founded and when? Like by whom?
It was founded many years ago, 30 years ago actually, by Mr. Helmut Dungler.
Okay.
And unfortunately, he passed away beginning of this year in January. So it was a big loss for the organization. He was really a great person. So it all started with the fur industry in Austria.
Oh, really?
Yes, he was very active on this field. And so, yes, it was in Vienna, just a small group of activists. They started, and then Pfoten in Germany, so for Paws, started to grow and to grow. And that's how Paws.
Yeah, that's quite interesting that it grew from such a small group of activists to these, rescue missions in Iraq.
They were not expecting anything like that. Actually, when they started, they just wanted to do something. It was for the eggs in the industry, and it was for the fur industry as well. It was just a group of people, friends actually, and they were animal lovers. They wanted to do something in Austria. They were meeting a lot, and then they started to be more active and to do some lobbying work. And it grew. They were not expecting such fame, let's say, in Austria, but after that, worldwide. And then it developed. Dr. Amir Khalil actually started to make some programs in Bulgaria for the dancing bears.
Exactly, yeah.
And thanks to this, actually, Paws started as well to become a bit more famous. And yes, it developed that way.
So, how do people contact you, or how do you get these cases from all over the world? Like, what type of cases are they mostly?
Different cases, actually. First of all, we have as well in Vienna an office that is those people, they collect all the requests they can receive.
Right.
It's, for instance, I don't know, people in Baghdad saying there is a zoo in private captivity and it's in a bad condition, I have footage if you want, and then we receive that. And of course, we're also limited with some resources, so we really have to assess and to see if we can do something. We always want to work with the authorities on site.
Of course.
We want to be able to do something. So the office is receiving the requests, directly us as well, through our network. Dr. Amir Khalil has really huge network, so he's receiving a lot of requests daily. I start receiving as well a lot of requests on my phone, a lot, yes, with people asking if we can do something about this or this. Facebook is also very active about this. And there are a lot of activists worldwide. So most of the times those people, they're making some research and they find for Paws.
Okay.
And so then they contact us.
Right.
So there are many ways, and most of the times it's about actually lions, mainly in captivities. We have a lot of requests about lions in private keeping, or in zoos as well, in very poor condition worldwide, in Asia.
Why? I mean, I think it's, you can see it in many countries, also here in Pakistan. Sometimes people get these big cats as pets. Why do you think this is such a trend?
I think it shows somehow for those people a kind of power, because they are beautiful beasts, they are lions, they are kings. I mean, so it shows that you can control this animal, this king.
Yeah.
So for those people, for me, it's a kind of ego thing.
Right.
You want to show the power, you want to show that you can control this animal, you want to show that you are stronger than him, but in the end you are not. If this animal wants really to kill you, it can kill you.
Have you ever heard of anything like that happening? That happens a lot, that the animals attack people.
You have as well a lot of people saying, no, I'm owning my lion loves me, or the tiger, or just a big cat, and he loves me, he will never harm me. And then you can hear a story that 2 months later this person has been either severely injured or just be killed by this animal. They're not pets.
Wow. Do you often have to go to this kind of private premises to rescue animals? Is that something that happens also?
It doesn't happen a lot because it's very hard actually to reach those people. It's very hard. So we are mainly in zoos. It happened, of course, but it's hard because in most of the times in the country it's allowed. So for us it's hard to say we will confiscate this animal and we will take it, because it's allowed by law. So of course we have no power regarding this. So most of the time we want to work first with the government, we want to change in the legislation, and then we can do something.
Yeah.
Only then.
Okay.
Otherwise we will just take the animal, the person will just take another animal, and it will feed an illegal trade.
Yeah, exactly. So what is your role exactly at 4Paws?
At 4Paws, I'm the right hand of Dr. Khalil. I'm assisting him. Yes. So every time, most of the times, I'm with him. Wherever he goes, I'm here. And he's using he keeps saying that if something happens to him, I'm the deputy. So I am taking over. I hope it will never happen, because it's really a huge task. But no, I'm assisting him with everything. So
you accompany him everywhere he goes, basically.
And so we are working together, collaborating together, and we are trying to share the task, because it's always a lot of work. So especially for him, he has a lot of pressure from every side, of course, and so I'm trying to assist as much as I can.
What would you say has been the most challenging case or mission that you've been involved in so far?
All of them have their challenges, for sure. All of them. But I would say it was Gaza.
Yeah.
Gaza in 2019, it was the Rafah Zoo. And we had many challenges. We arrived in Jordan, and so we had to cross the border with Jordan to Israel. Yeah. And we had, of course, all the medicine we had, and we needed a lot of medicine for the animals, obviously, to dart them, then to transfer them to Jordan. And we had as well darting guns. We had this kind of veterinary equipment, and we've been stuck at the border. and we could not take the medicine. Almost everything was kept at the border.
Wow.
So once we arrived in Israel, we had in just a few hours to organize everything to have medicine again. Otherwise, how do you want to dart a lion without medicine, or a baboon, something like that? So we had to organize everything. And then when we arrived in Gaza, we also had some other issues because then we've been told we cannot transfer the animals anymore.
Oh.
So it's things like that we had to deal with. But fortunately it worked. And then when we had the green light finally to transfer the animals back to Al-Marwa, so this sanctuary we have in Al-Marwa, in Jordan with Princess Leia Foundation, we had on less than 10 hours to transfer all the animals there.
Wow.
So it was 47 animals that we had to dart, to put into the crates, and then we had to cross the border, and the border was supposed to be closed, so they had to wait for us a little bit, but they were a bit annoyed, and then to Jordan.
Did you accompany him on the mission to Iraq also, to Mosul?
No, unfortunately, no.
You were not involved
I was not involved at that time with him.
Okay.
I heard, of course, a lot about those missions, and I know what happened, the challenges they had, especially with Aleppo. But unfortunately, no, I was not part of those two missions.
Yeah, okay. So animal cruelty, I mean, that's an issue everywhere in the world, of course. But maybe like in the developing world or in conflict countries, there's not maybe as much awareness about animal rights as there is in a Western country, or maybe there aren't that many laws about it. How do you think that, I mean, what do you think is the best way to raise awareness about these issues in a country like, let's say, Pakistan, for example?
There are many ways, many ways actually. It all starts, to me, from the childhood. You have to teach your children that an animal has to be a wild animal, but it has to be into the wild and not in captivity. But this animal has needs, and you have to teach that to your kids, to your children. Same thing for the pets. You have to teach them that a stray dog is not something bad, that you need to help, that you have programs for that. And so it all starts with that. It starts from us as well. We need to teach our children, and then they develop. And of course, also when we go to war zones, most of the times we do as well trainings for either the wildlife authorities there, the rangers, the animal keepers, but also we have most of the times as well kids coming, and they're fascinating.
Oh, wow.
They are totally fascinated by the work we are doing, and they see the lion, they want to touch the darted lion or the darted bear, and they want to know a bit more about it. So if it can inspire those kids, then to have, I don't know, if they want to become a vet as well, even a war vet, and I think it's very nice, and so it can raise awareness, and so maybe they want to learn more about wildlife. What does it imply? What does it mean? And what kind of needs they need? So I think it's really a kind of package. And then, of course, we have also education program for that.
All right. So, like in schools?
In schools, yes.
Okay, wow.
For instance, in Myanmar, we have an anti-rabies program. So we want to vaccinate 1 million dogs in Myanmar for it's a period of 3 years. And we want to vaccinate 1 million dogs. And we also go to schools to teach the kids that it's very important to vaccinate your pets. And it's very important as well not to be scared of them, but to do something because they are part of the community, those dogs.
Exactly. How closely do you work with local organizations? I mean, for example, here in Pakistan, this whole issue of animal cruelty has been discussed quite a lot recently, whether it's been with relation to the zoos or just stray animals. How much do you interact with local activists and
all the time?
Yeah,
all the time, because the local people are the ones that can just tell us exactly what's happening in the country.
Yeah,
we're not here to say that we are superior, not at all. We have to learn as well from local people, of course. They know their wildlife. They know what is it about. They know the issue and they know the needs much better than us. And so we are working with them, of course. And even in Pakistan here, we are also working with the Islamabad Wildlife Management Board.
All right.
We are working with them closely, and we have advice from local authorities or local partners, and we listen to their advice. We will never go alone and to just be cowboys in an area. No.
How do you think these local organizations could be strengthened? How do you think they could get their voice heard better in their countries?
It's hard to say because it really depends on the country, but it has to come from the government.
Yeah.
It has to come from the higher authorities, of course.
There has to be political will.
Exactly, it has to be political, and they have then to have the power to do something and to enforce something. And so, yes, it has to come from a higher point of view.
And that's also something, like you mentioned, lobbying is an important part of your work.
Exactly, lobbying is very important. Without lobbying, we would not achieve what Paws has achieved the past 30 years.
How difficult do you find it to convince politicians that animal rights also matter?
Depends on the country again, but of course it's not always easy, especially when you work in war zones, because which is totally understandable. They have other priorities. There is the safety issues. They have issues with the economy, with the inflation, things like that. So of course it's not always easy. But most of the times they are really willing to listen to you. They are willing to do something because it has to do something with their image as well, their worldwide image.
Exactly.
So they want to show to the world that their country is not so bad, that they want to do something, that they're willing to do something. So that's also why they are welcoming us.
Here in
most
Pakistan
of the time.
also.
Yeah, in Pakistan also, of course. Pakistan is actually quite good regarding the environment and wildlife, yes.
Right. And I mean, one example is Kaavan, the elephant at the Islamabad Zoo. How did this particular case gain so much international attention, and how much do you think that helped in now finally getting him to a better place soon?
Kaavan at the Islamabad Zoo is indeed quite lonely. So when we arrived at Magaza Zoo, we've seen the elephant having some kind of mental disturbance. He was just moving from left to right and making this kind of moves, showing that he feels lonely and that he has some issues mentally. And so Kaavan gained this worldwide fame because actually it was thanks to the singer, the pop singer Cher, with her foundation Free the Wild. So she was very active regarding this case, and she had a petition called Save Kaavan. And so it went worldwide. And then there was a kind of legal affair regarding this. And finally, in May 2020, the Islamabad High Court decided to close the Islamabad Zoo and to relocate the animals, all the animals, including Kaavan. So Kaavan will be relocated in or outside of Pakistan. We don't know yet. So there will be an assessment done by vets to say if he can be transferred, if he's fit enough to be transferred. And so then we will see.
And that was a very important decision in Pakistan.
It is a very important decision, and even when you read the court order, it's really nice written. They are referring to animals as inmates. So we think it's very nice, and it shows how much wildlife is also important for this country. Because Pakistan has a very rich wildlife. So.
Exactly. Yes. All right, time to take a short break. I'll see you when we come back. Welcome back. I'm here in conversation with Marion Lombard from Paws International. So Marion, let's talk a little bit about the coronavirus situation. How did it impact your rescue missions? I mean, that's a big part of your job.
Yes, for sure. Corona had a big impact, a huge impact. I mean, we were not able to travel. We were in lockdown as well.
You were in Vienna?
I was in Vienna, indeed, yes. We were all in Vienna. And so we still received a lot of requests, but unfortunately there was no plane, no flight.
You couldn't do anything?
We could not do anything. So we had to, not to deny, but of course we had to say, we are very sorry, but due to the corona situation, we are not able right now to do anything, but please, we are still in touch with you. And so that's how we dealt with that. But of course, there was no rescue mission. There were some, I mean, not from our side, there were some rescue missions in Vietnam, where some wild bears have been rescued, but we have a local team there. So of course for them it was much easier.
How many countries do you have offices in, actually?
I think it's around 15, something like that.
Okay, so you are present all over the world.
We are present, mainly in Europe.
Right.
But we also have an office in Boston, in the US. We have a small one in Australia. We have one in Vietnam, South Africa, Myanmar. and Thailand.
How do you usually decide which cases to take, or are you able to take all of them?
No, unfortunately, we are not able to take all of them. It's really, we have to deal with the human resources as well that we have. And when we decide, we have to see first, how can we have an impact? If we can have a short-term solution for them, a middle term, and then a long term. We want sustainability.
Exactly.
If we know there will be no sustainability, for instance, someone wants to give, I don't know, 2 lions, but the zoo will not be closed, we will not do anything because we don't want to feed a trade. So we will act only if there is sustainability behind.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yes.
And I mean, I guess the corona situation also has changed the way everybody lives their lives, and it must have changed your approach to this work quite a bit as well, right?
Yes, exactly. So most of the times now we had calls on Microsoft Teams or Skype or WhatsApp. It was
everything went online.
Exactly, everything. But of course, it's not the same. You are not touching the project or the story. It's totally different. But we had no choice, for sure.
One of the issues that I noticed, people were quite worried about how stray cats and dogs would be able to deal with the lockdown, because I suppose like they usually get food from, I don't know, butchers or restaurants. How did it impact these stray animals?
It had an impact on them for sure. Not only stray dogs or cats, but also the monkeys, for instance.
Oh, really?
Yes, you can see a lot of videos that went viral online where you see monkeys in some places, very touristic places in Thailand, and they started to become very aggressive because, of course, no tourists, so no food anymore.
Oh, right.
So they were just starting to starve and to be aggressive towards people because they want to be fed. And there was nothing left. And for the dogs and cats, it was a bit different because people, some very nice actually, people or local community were still helping them. But there was also this common saying, especially at the beginning, that dogs and cats could also get the corona and could give it to humans.
Yeah.
So there was, fortunately actually, there was a lot of campaigns from animal welfare organizations as well saying, no, they will not give you corona. It's not working like that.
Yeah.
But I think for stray dogs and stray cats, people were also quite solidarity. They were showing solidarity and they were a bit helpful.
Yeah. So now let's say now we are seeing the second wave in Europe starting, and if there is another lockdown situation like that, how do you think people can help animals like monkeys and cats and dogs on the streets?
It's hard to say. It's really hard to say, but because of course if there is a second wave and people are still in lockdown, I'm not sure they are fully prepared to really help the monkeys. It will be the same situation, at least for the monkeys. For stray dogs and cats, we have as well some shelters. I know people were catching some animals and trying to help them as much as they can. So I guess it will be the same.
Yeah. But do you think it's a good idea to like just go out and feed them like regular cat food and just leave it around somewhere where there are a lot of animals?
It's not the solution.
Yeah.
Because as long as there is no really proper control management program for the stray animals, it will not end.
Exactly.
So for sure, then it needs a collaboration with the government or the community or, I don't know, the locality where you are. It needs a cooperation. So then you need to have a proper program to neuter the animal and to give us a vaccination, of course, and then it will reduce.
Yeah.
Like we have this program actually in Bulgaria. We have a huge stray dogs program in Bulgaria, so we are controlling and managing the population. And I know in Sofia, within 10 or 15 years, it reduced by 70%, for instance. So it's effective. It's working. So if we are doing that, of course, the stray population would reduce.
Exactly. And that's a much more, let's say, humane way of dealing with the problem than what you often see in some countries where the dogs or cats are just killed.
Exactly. So that's the human way of dealing with the stray population.
Yeah.
Yes.
But what about you personally? I mean, you are so used to traveling all the time and just going to the next destination. How did the lockdown affect you personally?
I actually loved it.
You did?
Yes. I was surprised, but I actually really loved it. It was nice because, especially at that period, so we had the lockdown like end of March. And at that period, I was really traveling a lot. We were going to Myanmar, Thailand, Sudan, and I was barely in Vienna.
Wow.
So it was very nice. I had like a kind of small break, and everything was slowing down a bit for the project, for the missions. So I enjoyed a bit for myself, having some bicycle tour, making some sports. And at that time, the weather in Vienna was very nice. So I actually enjoyed it. I cooked and
that's
things
nice.
like that. But it's also nice to have some balance, like for everything.
Of course.
So of course, after like 6 months, I felt a bit more like a lion in a cage.
Yeah.
So I was really happy to be able to travel again when I've been to France to visit my family, and now Pakistan is really my first big trip.
Is it?
Yes, since the lockdown, yeah.
Oh, wow. So, is there any place in Pakistan that you would really love to see?
Yes, 3 places actually.
Okay.
Yes, I would love to see Lahore because I've heard that regarding the history, it's very interesting.
Yeah.
I would love to go to Gilgit in the north. Everybody is telling me it's gorgeous. And the Deosai National Park.
Oh, wow.
It's really 3 places I would love to see.
Do you think you'll have time on this mission?
I hope.
Yeah?
Actually, our mission should go on the whole next week. So I really hope to have maybe 1 or 2 days break to see at least one of those 3 places.
Yeah, maybe Lahore at least you should be able to manage.
Yes, because if I have only 2 days, I'm sure Deosai it's maybe too few, but at least Lahore or Gilgit, I would love it.
Are you also interested in seeing the wildlife that you mentioned? Pakistan has an amazing.
Yes, of course. I'm really interested in it. Yes, I would love it. So that's also why actually we've been to make a hike near to Islamabad, because we have been told that sometimes you can see maybe leopards if you go early morning or jackals. So I was like, I want to see that.
That would be amazing. But I think that's not so common. Maybe.
No, it's not common. They said there is only 2 or 3 or something like that.
That's still there, around somewhere there. Yeah. Aside from the snow leopards, is there any other species that you're hoping to see in Pakistan? Are you like a wildlife freak, so to say? Are you interested in spotting wild animals wherever you go?
Yes, I would be actually. Yesterday we were, for instance, invited to the house, very nice one, and there was this huge terrace and with big trees just in front of it. Yeah. And we could hear the flying bats. So we were just with a torch, and we were trying to spot them.
Oh, wow.
And it was really interesting actually. We saw many of them. It was really nice.
One of the funniest things here in Islamabad is that sometimes if you are driving late at night when there's not so much traffic, you can actually see wild boars.
Well, actually, we've seen a lot of them yesterday. Yes, we arrived at this house and we've seen a family of wild boars. It was maybe tens of them. But it was, even at the zoo actually, close to the bear enclosure, we've seen wild boars as well. I guess it's everywhere in Islamabad.
Can you tell me a little bit about the zoo, by the way? I've never been. What is it like there?
The zoo is not a bad place. It's, the problem is not the zoo itself. It's very green and it's a big area.
Right.
But the problem is more the husbandry and the maintenance of the zoo. The enclosures are not well maintained. There is no proper husbandry. There is no enrichment for the animals. But we are here as well to support the wildlife authorities, to build the capacity of the staff, to train them. And there is a lot of potential. People are really willing to collaborate, to learn. And so together with the wildlife authorities, we will do something, obviously.
How big is the area there? How many animals have there been at the most?
There were, if I'm not mistaken, almost 500 animals, if I'm not mistaken, including birds, rabbits, deers. Now there are just some remaining animals. Most of them have been already relocated by the wildlife authorities in very nice places. So far we still have 34, roughly 36 animals to relocate, including the elephant Kaavan. There is also 2 bears, Himalayan brown bears, 3 wolves, around 17 rabbits and 1 deer.
Okay.
Yes.
And I mean, just thinking about the wildlife in Pakistan, are there reserves or sanctuaries within Pakistan that you are hoping to relocate them
Within
to?
Pakistan, they have sanctuaries. It's not really sanctuaries like we could think of, like we have in Europe, but they have some nice places actually. They have some proper area for wildlife, yes.
So that's where you're hoping to.
We are talking right now with the authorities and we are assessing the places, and then we will see where it could be the best for the animals.
What do you think is going to be the future of the Islamabad Zoo?
That I unfortunately cannot say really. I don't really know. Right now there is a court order saying that the zoo will be closed and then it will have to be rebuilt according to international standards, and experts from the outside have to come to assess if the zoo is really fitting the international standards. So I hope it will end up that way.
But hopefully
it will I hope for the zoo, for the staff, for the animals, for everyone.
All right, then it's time for our rapid fire round. Are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Shalwar kameez or Western clothes?
Western.
Okay, have you gotten to wear shalwar kameez at all here?
No, not yet.
Not yet, okay.
I would love it, but not yet.
Lahore or Karachi?
Lahore.
All right. Vienna or Paris?
Vienna.
Interesting.
Sorry for Paris.
Croissants or parathas?
Croissant.
Hiking or cycling?
Hiking.
Especially here in Islamabad, I guess. First thought that comes to your mind when I say truck art?
Fancy.
Yeah. Islamabad.
Green.
Pakistani culture.
Interesting.
Faisal Mosque.
Fascinating.
Middle East or Europe?
Europe.
The best thing about Pakistan?
People.
Great. Okay, then you get to write in our visitors book.
Okay, with pleasure.
There you go.
Thank you.
Okay, let's see what you wrote. Thank you, Pakistan, for the warm welcome and your kindness. Thank you so much for being on the show, and I hope you continue to have an amazing time here in Pakistan.
Thank you very much for hosting me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's it for today. Please join me again next week, and don't forget to follow us on our social media accounts at indus.news. Stay home, stay safe, goodbye.